And with that, I would like to discuss in particular how we can make the spectrum for mobile industry, especially for the 5G. So, so we have heard that many countries, I take right here Bangladesh as one of the example. For example, they have defined their broadband connectivity targets. It's a recent report that they recognize that the importance of the mobile industry. So we also heard another example I take is from Thailand. They recognize that how 5G can contribute to their national GDP. So their quantity study is that it will increase more than 5% of the national GDP by the year of the 2030. So not talking about the various use case which 5G can bring us. So including digital healthy, manufacture, agriculture, etc. It's we see that gradually those use cases have been turned into reality. So it's not something just stay on the paper that we see reality that is happening right now. I would like to, before I go into the details regarding the spectrum policy, I would like to have a quick look about the global development of the 5G. Actually, in our view, we consider that 5G is one of the successful stories of the mobile industry. Why we are saying so? If I do a comparison between 4G and 5G, we see that the speed or the overall deployment of the 5G, what they achieved in 3 years, actually in 4G era, it takes 5 years. So that is a very good achievement to say how globally 5G is happening as a good story. And we see that, for example, that more than 300 operators is been starting their 5G practice. And also in our Asia Pacific region, it's around 92 operators in 27 countries. They have starting their journey to 5G. But unfortunately, I have to point out that since we are in this sub-region of South Asia, if we zoom into the map, that we see that several countries within this region were actually unfortunately left behind the 5G journey. So I know that regulators are taking their efforts in order to speed up, to accelerate their journey to 5G. And with that, I would like to take my next few slides to say how the spectrum policy should be defined according to the other successful experience from some other countries. So we also I want to also talk about the ecosystem. I think this is also right now 2025. It's almost 5 years of the first development of the 5G. So at this point of time, we see that the 5G device actually are very mature at this moment. We see it's widely available, not in terms of the total number of the device. You see the chart which show you the increased trend of the available of the device, but it also can be told from the distribution of the device, not just the cell phones, which of course is one of the most important device of the 5G. More than 50% of those devices are available for cell phones. But there's also varieties of the device, for example, the IoT device, FWA, PE, etc. Those are available for your different considerations if you're considering the different use case of the 5G. So which says that the industry is ready to support you to start the 5G deployment. Can you point me to the next page, please? Okay. Never mind. My computer is disconnecting, but I can use this way. So that's not working. Let's use this one. So when I'm considering the spectrum for 5G, I think one of the most important band is regarding the middle band. Because we have heard from today's presentation, for example, from Kato-san regarding the Japan's deployment, where he indicated that the low band and the middle band are the most important ones for 5G. And we share the same opinion of that, especially for the TDD middle band. Here I take some examples from various operators around the world. For example, in Saudi, China Mobile, and Finland. You see those operators, their download speed is actually very promising. We see it's almost all over 300 Mbps for downlink only. So that is a very good performance. And another example for our region is Singapore's case. We see that the two operators in Singapore, they are also capable to reach more than 300 Mbps downlink speed. So when we are digging into that, how we can achieve the similar good performance of that, we see a commonality, or one of the bases is to have enough TDD middle band spectrum. All these operators, they will have at least over 100 megahertz within the middle band. So the reason why we are thinking that the why we need to achieve these targets, are we happy with the current 4G speed or 3G speed? Certainly not, because if we see, this is from the vision of the ITU regarding the 5G vision. What we shall achieve for 5G? 5G always will pursue for better performance, better speed, etc. With those sufficient TDD spectrum, we are capable to reach the target, to reach the vision of the 5G we defined. So next slide, please. So you may doubt that I just select some particular countries as a good examples, but in fact, this slide show you the global trends. You see that the slide, the bands launched by frequency around the world, where C-band 3.5 gigahertz was, the chart is much more than the other bands. So which is say this is the band was most adopted by various operators. And also it can see from the availability of the device that C-band, the middle band, will be the most available bands. Next slide, please. And if we go into the details regarding the middle band TDD spectrum, in particular, most two important bands are C-band and 2.6 gigahertz. We see the number of the devices that are available in C-band, that is top one, and then the second one is 2.6 gigahertz. So the ecosystem are very mature for those bands. And then another band also important for 5G as well is 2.6 gigahertz. Because many countries, they are using 2.6 gigahertz in 4G, starting from 4G, but some are using in an FDD duplex mode. While in 5G, we introduced into the TDD, so we see some transitions from FDD to TDD mode. So we would like to encourage regulators or administration to consider that at least we should reserve enough continuous big bandwidth for each operator. I think we have heard this view several times today in several speakers' notes. And also another important thing is regarding the technology neutrality, in particular, for example, into the 6 gigahertz band. When the operators they are ready to migrate from 4G to 5G, they could decide according to their market demand, business strategy, etc. In principle, technology neutrality should be applied for spectrum policy. And also for the 5G deployment, we will encourage to adopt the TDD mode in particular for 2.6 GHz band. So as we discussed today, middle band will be very good because it can provide a wide coverage of, and also a very good capacity. It's kind of a sit in a sweet balance between capacity and the coverage. But lower band is also very important. That is in terms of its good coverage. It was so good, which cannot be replaced by the middle band or especially for the millimeter wave band. We see that the coverage lower band sub 1 gigahertz, for example, 700 megahertz, or some countries they are also making 800 or 900 available according to their availability. But for example, in 700 megahertz, that will be a very good band to build up your base layer for national-wide ubiquitous connectivity. And the ecosystem are also very much in this band as well. On the right side, I'll show you one example that is from our solution, Huawei solution. We call it our rural stack, which means that we can use 700 megahertz or sub 1 gigahertz band to extend our coverage to remote areas. So in particular, I think in this region, I've heard today from Nepal administrations, they are considering to use the low bands to provide the national connectivities. I think 700 megahertz and with such rural solutions can provide you a good candidate to provide the national coverage. So we have discussed regarding the how to deploy 5G, but I would like to also take the rest few minutes to look ahead. That when we're considering 5G, we also need to take into account that we are also considering how to evolve from 5G. So there was a discussion regarding 5G Advanced. In fact, this is not something just for standards or 3GPP specification. It's now becoming some commercial cases, for example, in China and in some Middle East countries as well. For 5G Advanced, what we certainly would like to achieve with better performance, for example, for downlink speed, 5 gig bps, and for some altimeter experience, we may even want to achieve 10 gig bps. So in that case, we certainly would need to have an additional spectrum in order to achieve that altimeter experience. And then where would you get this additional spectrum come from? Then I think in several speakers' slides today, we have discussed regarding the 6 gigahertz. In fact, I will have another presentation tomorrow, which I will show you more details regarding 6 gigahertz. But today, I would like to very briefly update you regarding the 6 gigahertz ambient amplification. So this is what's been identified at WS23 in various regions and countries. In particular, in our region, we get identified in the top 100 megahertz, and we also got some country footnote in the rest of the band. And there was a condition defined in order to protect the satellite uplink. And I think Kato-san raised a question how to protect the fixed link. That is also another incompetent services in this band, which I share with you with some of the study group progress after WRC. So in fact, once this band has been identified at WS23, it's also cause that ITR continues to study in order to say how to coordinate with incompetent services. So those work has been studied in Working Party 5D, for example, the coordination with fixed stations, coordination with SSRS stations and IIS stations, etc. And also, in terms of the 3GPP, they have already defined this band before WRC23. So band 104 is been defined for this range. Now 3GPP is working on how to implement the ART mask in order to protect the satellite uplink. And we also see there's a number of the trials that's been conducted globally to say that with 6 gigahertz band, we are capable to reach the maximum 10 gigabps data rate. So that is very promising. So which shows 6 gigahertz will be essential for 5G advanced and even towards 6G. So as a short summary, we would like to encourage regulators in the region that always to adopt the supportive policy in order to for 5G or even 5G advanced. This is also one of the policy to enable your national digital transformations, and in particular for the spectrum policy for different bands, make the low band 700 megahertz, 800, 900 megahertz available. This is for your national connectivity targets, and also a large continuous bandwidth, 80 to 100 megahertz per operator in the TTD middle band. And also looking into the future, we need to reserve upper 6 gigahertz bands in your national roadmap or national frequency table, etc. So in a way, I want to also emphasize that as an example, in Bangladesh connectivity report, they are considering to allocate additional spectrum for IMG, which is very good. And I would also like to emphasize or encourage administrations when we are making those policy for our country, it will be also important that we turn it into actions so we can get the spectrum assignment or through auctions as soon as possible. So with that, I conclude my presentation. I will be happy to take any question if there is. Thank you very much.
Yes, Yemen, for your presentation, the 5G spectrum use in low band and mid band, as well as the ecosystem of 5G. So she also looks into the future on the future spectrum upper 6 band, 6 gigahertz for IoT. Any question or comment to her? I think that the sufficient 5G TDD spectrum enabled to meet the requirement of the 5G vision is a quite the important message in your presentation. So any the difficulty in technical or the development cost between FDD and TDD? You have some observation or comment?
Thank you, Cancer. I think for the middle band, when we're talking about middle band, normally we refer with a band from 1 gigahertz to 6 or 7 gigahertz bands. So normally below 2.1 gigahertz, that's most of the countries, they will use those bands in a FDD mode. And then starting from 2.3, I think most of the countries, they are using those bands in a TDD mode. To the 3 to the 6 gigahertz and also 3.5 gigahertz. Those are the kind of a popular TDD bands that's being widely used globally. So they will fulfill the different purpose, I would say. And then, for example, TDD band in the lower part, that will have a better coverage, which can provide the national ubiquitous connectivity. While in the TDD band with the TDD duplex, we are capable to provide a better capacity. So that is why also we will get better performance within the TDD bands. And also taking into the consideration, taking into account that the total amount that available in the TDD band, I think that is also one of the attractive points of those TDD spectrum, because normally we will have a more available bandwidth in the TDD spectrum bands. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your the clarification and further comment.
If I could just make two comments. I think the key thing is, and I think we all know in this room, why TDD is so valuable to us. You know, when we use our phones, when we're using an FWA device, we aren't uploading as much as we are downloading. And so the beauty of TDD is it allows us the technology to deliver what consumers want, what enterprises want. So the typical profile is 4:1, 4 download, 1 up, and that's the value to an operator and to consumers. So the TDD, yes, you get some better technical performance with FDD for lower frequencies, but when you get into the 2.3, 2.6, 3.5, there's just a tremendous, the technology is more optimized for the use case, if I can put it like that. And that is about smartphones, about the consumption of video, which is now driving most of the additional data that we're talking about as part of that process. And I think that's really important. I wanted to make one comment because Cambodia, I don't believe, is here. And just to illustrate Yi Min's point, Cambodia has made the decision to move from its hybrid FDD, TDD configuration for 2.6 to TDD over the next 12 months. So they've taken the decision that their two neighbors in Thailand and Vietnam are both using N41 TDD, and they've worked it with the operators, and they'll be doing that transition because the Cambodian border is only 55 kilometers away from Ho Chi Minh City, a huge city, and there's an opportunity there to see that growth into Cambodia. But they've recognized that having and managing the interference in those types of areas where you have a high population, it's just so important for them in terms of integration to pick up and have the 2.6 TDD. So yes, there's a cost. Yes, there's a transition. Yes, it required a negotiation with both Metphone, which is owned by Viettel, by Smart Asiata, which is owned by the Asiata Group as part of that process. But it's important that that's a good example of what we're talking about. And I must say, you know, Singapore's not represented here. They would love to be able to move to TDD for 2.6. They obviously have a process because Indonesia is going to also use N41. So across ASEAN, all the big markets who have come to it a little bit later are all, and that's the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, and obviously Thailand. All of those big markets we use TDD, and that's the value because that's the use case. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
If I may just supplement with some very short information that regarding the TDD bands, from the technology evolution perspective view, actually when we are defining further specifications for the new bands, for example, we just discussed the upper 6 GHz band. In this band, we only introduced the TDD mode, but not FDD. So I would say, starting from the middle bands, starting from 2.3, those bands, C band, 4.9 GHz, upper 6 GHz, even in the millimeter wave band, we are all using the TDD mode. So it's we see that's a very clear definition, and we see the benefit which TDD mode can bring to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott and Ms. Yemen, for your further comment and further observation. Quite the important message to all of us. So, if any further question or comment, I'd like to summarize the session to 4. I developed just the material. Okay, so this the just the material for the summary of sessions 2 to 4. Next, please. The session 2 is the moderator by the Mr. Ahmed from the Maldives. The four speakers from the academia and the administration. And next one, the next session, session 3. The session 3 is also the same topics and the moderator same, the Mr. Ahmed, but the speakers are from the government side, only government side, the Korea, Nepal, and the academia. So the two sessions, the 2 and 3, are closely related to the national the spectrum strategy and policy in each country, or some view from the academia. But the next session, session 4, next please. Session 4 is a little bit different from the last two sessions. This is only the industry view on the spectrum policy and the spectrum the management. Next, please. So we have already developed the 6 discussion the topics. It is just described within the document. I believe that our old presentation almost covers the discussion topics described here. Next, please. This is just my summary of the symposium in Dhaka. First is that we learn a lot about the policies, the directions, and the issues on the spectrum, the strategy. Second point is that we also learned the regional and global practice of the developing spectrum strategy. The third one is that we hear the quite the variable the industry views. Next, please. So that's my observation on the spectrum the management. First point is it is a fact there is a sufficient spectrum to enable the success of the 5G and toward 5G advanced and 6G. I believe that the clear spectrum strategy and its roadmap is essential to 5G growth and future networks. So that's all my the summary in this sessions 2 to 4. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And finally, that I'd like to ask that all the participants to the big applause to the all speakers and moderators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Soto, and thank you to all our speakers for an insightful session. That brings us to the end of today's session. We hope you found the discussion meaningful and thought-provoking. We will begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. with session 5. Have a wonderful evening. Ladies and gentlemen, BTRC is delighted to host a welcome dinner for all our participants. The dinner will be served at 7 p.m. on Celebration Hall. You all are invited to join us and savor authentic Bangladeshi cuisine while enjoying a pleasant evening. Thank you so much. this is the same venue you have your lunch today. It's the same venue. Thank you.